Why, hello, hello. Welcome back to another stream. We are back with some more Citizen Sleeper 2. We are currently here on the far spindle, but it seems like it is time for us to leave our haven in the wake of Hexport's collapse. We have completed everything we can do here, so our journeys must now take us elsewhere. Our first priority is diagnosing our frame. Us as a sleeper, we are a emulated individual. Our body is that of the machined variety. We are not a being of organic flesh and blood. We are made of steel and wires and cables and circuitry. And something has been happening to our frame that shouldn't be possible. So, in order to sustain our continued existence, we have to go to Flotsam. So, away we go. It's hard to tell where Flotsam ends and the ships parked at its many docking bridges begin. As Serafin docks with the station, you realize that the rig now looks like just another piece of accumulated technology. One more bit of driftwood added to the raft. I love this place. Serafin smiles as he shuts down the engines. You never know what you'll find. I mean, it looks like a mess to me. Serafin shrugs. It's not meant to look clean. You see Bliss eyeing the station with what looks like both horror and fascination. You see the seals? They point out some twisted assemblage of ship parts. Total cowboy welds. They could pop any moment. Serafin waves away their concerns. That's just the idle air. I heard there's 6 or 7 in all, so if one fails, it's no problem. He stretches and turns to you. You gotta taste some of the stuff they grow in old Takahe. He kisses his fingers. That's the good shit. Oh great, Bliss sighs. So many layers of redundancy and fallback, so you have no hope of isolating a leak and fixing it. They rap on the wall of the rig. Sounds like a ship I know. You know, you're not wrong, but what isn't in the belt? He smiles, you join in with the joke, but Serafin doesn't look impressed. She got you out of it, didn't she? He looks between the two of you. No sense of gratitude. I was joking. Bliss looks a little hurt, just out of the cockpit, shaking their head. You go to follow, but Serafin puts a hand on your shoulder. Sleeper. He looks suddenly serious. Remember what I said about getting checked out. There are artificers all over this place. It'll take a bit of searching, but we need to know what's going on with you. He meets your eye. Afraid I'll go haywire? Come on, Sleeper. Don't be like that. I'm worried there's something wrong with you. Serafin looks away. I guess it's up to you. I'm gonna go see if any of my old haunts are still open. He drifts out of the cockpit with a mock salute. Catch you later. You're left alone in the cockpit with a view of Flotsam's chaotic structure. You look over the multicolored plating. It does, you admit, have a certain charm. Alright. Well, nothing else to do but explore the hub. Make use of all these dice that I can. I'm losing energy. You know, as things to lose go, I don't mind losing energy. Your location discovered. Please be a place that gives me food. The narrow escape and the Ferris tanker. So this is where we can buy scrap components and fuel. I could buy some scrap components just to have something for fixing myself up. But I have so many rare components, I don't think I need it. The Narrow Escape's barman, Botan, has a tip about a recovery contract. For a few chits, he'll give you the coordinates. Stranded rig by Alma. My rig's blown its propulsion and I'm stranded on some godforsaken rock. Repair crew needed. We'll split haul. No time wasters or thieves. I'm armed. You know what? Good enough for me, Alma. Nothing else to really do. So I'm just gonna burn my last dice on doing a little bit more exploring and see what I can find. You start paying attention to the wires, feeds, and pipes. They lead you everywhere from busy thoroughfares to hidden bays. Hey, it's old Take. We can buy our supplies here, and we can work the hydroponics. But our indoor is shit. So that's about all we can do for now. Let's end the cycle. Yeah, this is Flotsam. It's a very nice place. It's very much built like a labyrinth, but, you know, if it keeps you alive, it keeps you alive. My understanding of Flotsam is, in comparison to pretty much every other station in the belt, which is built on the wreck of some Solheim thing, I'm fairly sure that Flotsam was literally a bunch of ships crashed together, and they just kind of welded themselves together, and they just kept welding more and more ships to keep this place going. Let's use our glitch dice. Might as well. The chaos of Flotsam intrigues you. Passage to passage, it is the most incoherent place you've ever visited. Plating, cladding, and cushioning of all kinds of conditions hide a forest of wires and ducts, interfacing in ways their manufacturers would never dream possible. Rooms are crushed cargo bays, flipped bridges, and eviscerated engine rooms. Patchwork corridors are lumped in with messy welds, bending worryingly along their length. It is, to put it nicely, a total mess. It's not that you don't like it, but finding an artificer among this chaos has been more than a little challenging. This cycle, searching these winding passages once more, seeing only scrap merchants and junk shops, you have begun to wonder if Serafin had any idea what he was talking about when he advised you to come here. "A sleeper," the voice cuts through the pungent air. "Well, I never." You glance in the voice's direction and find yourself looking at a small booth piled with tech. Behind a fogged and scratched plastic screen is a meticulously arranged counter, the only clear spot in sight. At it, an older man with wet and wandering eyes sits neatly. "Excuse me?" The man's eyes widen. Apologies. I wasn't sure you'd even hear me." John Mee tilts his head. "I didn't mean to be rude, please," and he bows a little. "That's okay." He smiles warmly, almost bowing again, his hunched shoulders accentuating the movement. "How?" He pauses, taking care with his speech now. "How are you feeling, sleeper?" He beckons you a little closer. "I am Jean-Michel. Though please, to you, Jean-Mi. I work with machines." He sweeps a hand above his counter, where you see configurations of tiny parts, mostly small ones. He smiles. "I'll be real with you, Doc. I'm not great." "Of course." He chops with his hand to indicate a stool with a leg bar, meant for perching beside his counter, and such is the clarity and persuasiveness of his movement that you obligingly sit. "Your presence is a rare honor here." He smiles and looks down into his lap. "I am sorry if I make you uncomfortable. I am just very pleased to see you." "That's okay." He looks up. "Very kind of you to say." "I can see your journey to me has not been easy," he says with genuine concern. You drag his eyes across your body, noticing the scuff marks on your thick, vinyl-like skin, the replaced and broken parts of your body, the marks of violence. You pull your jacket a little tighter. John Mee folds his hands one over the other and places them on the counter. "I do not know what your experience have been, but I want to assure you that I see you as a person, a being, a soul, shall we say, as valid as any other." You look at John Mee, his own age and wear also evident, a life of precise and careful work shaping his body into a reflection of his process. You note his unconfident way of speaking, which betrays a certain loneliness, a lack of practice. It is his turn to feel observed. "I understand." "You are kind." The frankness of the remark takes you by surprise. He looks down at his counter and begins to take apart a tiny piece of machinery that sits there. "Many years ago, when I began my apprenticeship, I would find that whenever I saw something that, was not working well, I was fixated on it and its repair." He tinkers with the parts, twisting them precisely. "Of course, the belt is filled with this kind of dysfunctional detail. And so I was busy, for many years, with these small fixings." He smiles in reminiscence. "But now I find that when I am interested in a thing that is not working as it should," he sharply twists one of the parts between his fingers, "it's because it might have some quality not yet foreseen or discovered." He releases the altered object into the air, where it balletically twists in a hypnotic display, like a spinning top whose movements are totally unpredictable. Jean-Mi smiles at you, watching his hypnotic toy. I can see that you are in a process of becoming Sleeper. He catches a spinning toy between a finger and thumb. Let me aid you in this. Why? It is my habit, he smiles, and my small offer to you. Jean-Mi's precise hands drop to a device around his neck. He deftly pulls a pair of goggles up to his face, masking his wet eyes. Hold still, Sleeper. Something flickers inside the goggles, their face blank. Jean-Mi's hands play across buttons and switches on the exterior, tuning, focusing. We'll just let him work. He seems to know what he's doing. When the goggles are finally lowered, they reveal a look of concern on Jean-Mi's face. I think you better come inside. He kicks off from his desk and disappears. A moment later, you hear a rattle and a small bulkhead door beside the booth you had assumed was rusted shut creaks open. Jean-Mi beckons you inside. His workshop is even more cramped than you expected. As you enter, you are surrounded on all sides with netting holding bundles and bundles of terminals, servers, drives, and cables. At its center, a padded seat and a set of articulated arms mounted with sensors and tools fill the space. A seat, please. Jean-Mi gestures at it with a polite smile. What are you going to do? Not to worry. I only wish to examine you. It is non-intrusive. You tentatively settle on the seat, slipping your arms and feet into the straps meant to keep you from floating out of it in 0G. Jean-Mi floats beside you. He looks across your body. There is damage here. There is damage here. I see that. We will get to that. But I see something else here as well. This is why you came. He looks at you solemnly. What are you talking about? Please, Sleeper. Let us be frank with each other. Alright, but I thought you were Jean-Mi. Though I have never met a Sleeper, I have studied them. I was lucky to acquire some materials from Essenop some time ago, in the interest of my own endeavors. He begins arranging a series of sensors around you on articulated arms. You are pleasingly distinct from those materials. His eyes flash with excitement. Am I right in thinking you have been modified? I rebooted myself. Yes, I see that your dependency on stabilizer, on the immune recoding portion of his makeup at least, has been broken. He gives you a precise look. But that is not all. You are physically modified, not externally, but internally. He carefully positions the final sensor. Your tracker is disabled, which makes it impossible for Essenop to find you. Congratulations. He smiles broadly. But this is not all. You have been modified, yes, but you are also being modified as we speak. You feel a strange claustrophobia at Jean-Mi's statement. Modified? Serafin rebooted your system, ran the recoding protocol, but that shouldn't have physically changed you. It only removed your planned obsolescence. How? Jean-Mi goes to a terminal and flicks a switch. Through the back of the translucent screen, you see a nodal web in the vague shape of a sitting body. Your body. These changes appear to be complex, subtle but consistent. Jean-Mi goes silent as he taps at the terminal, the representation of your body rotating and unfolding in unsettling motions. What changes? See here, he points at a flickering representation of your spine, tracing a line towards your head. Your nervous system is growing additional nodal points here and here. Meanwhile, your emulation interface is growing an umbilical access port, though towards what end I am unsure. You instinctively reach back and touch the base of your head. As you do, the scan flickers and screeches with noise. You feel for something there, growing under your thick vinyl skin. Can you feel a lump, or is that just your imagination? You pick at it. Oh my god, we have robot cancer. Jean-Mi sighs and shuts off the terminal. The changes are partial, and in all honesty, he gestures sharply at the sensors, the resolution is too poor. I need to run a full diagnostic, but for that I would need... He drifts over to another terminal and brings up screens and screens of text and diagrams. Yes, some kind of medium to hold your suspended emulation. The access jack I can build myself. You will need to bridge your emulation. Jean-Mi speaks quietly, almost to himself. A ship mine would be ideal for this. Would have to be high in capacity, a prime ship mine, Solheim in origin. Perhaps Helion Gate might hold records of any that were in the system. He taps at the terminal. Jean-Mi turns back to you. Yes, the prime ship mine is essential if you wish further investigations to be done. I will need this above all. He thumbs the terminal off. I am sorry to say, Sleeper. Can't you tell me more? Accurately, no. He meshes his fingers in front of his chest. It is clear that a process has begun, but is yet to complete. Jean-Mi busies himself with taking down the sensors and folding away the articulated arms. As he does, you try to calm yourself. You feel as if you have worms under your skin. It takes all your focus not to pick at its seams. Jean-Mi suddenly but gently places a hand on yours. Please remain calm. Puts a carefully restored rare component in your hand. This can help you. Jean-Mi waits for you to fall still. Then he leans back a little, relieving some of the strange intimacy of the moment. For now, our work is concluded. He meshes his fingers again and bows with a small head bob, but you are welcome any time. Thank you, Jean-Mi. Of course. His manner seems to have returned to something more businesslike, a humble man who knows his customers' needs. You get up from the seat, a little dazed, and push away into the passage. Safe travels, Sleeper, Jean-Mi says quietly, placing the promised list in your hand as he lets you back into the station. You leave dazed, unsure of how you feel about the insistence of this man's particular kindness. Most of all, haunted by the idea of the unseen processes that are running within you. They're meant to be processes. Part of you does not wish to know anything further, flee this place and never look back, and another is desperate to immediately retrieve every object on this list so you may know what strangeness is happening within you. For now, you must steady yourself and find a way to continue. Serafin comes to find you in your bunk. After Jean-Mi's assessment, you find yourself drifting back to the rig in need of the familiarity and comfort of your own ship. Sleeper, he drifts in. You found an artificer. He hovers by the door, looking concerned. I mean, ain't no point hiding it from him. You tell him about Jean-Mi, how he offered you repairs and ran an assessment of your frame. You describe the cramped booth, the articulated arms, the strangeness of seeing your own body anatomized upon the terminal screen. And you tell him that your body is changing, growing, in ways Jean-Mi cannot identify. That some process has been started and you do not know where it will end. You mention umbilical ports and nodal points, trying your best to remember the details of the things Jean-Mi asks you to retrieve. Serafin grows pale and silent. He shakes his head when you stop talking. Laine, he frowns. That piece of shit has to be behind this. Jean-Mi didn't say. He wouldn't know. But I know that piece of shit. I know he would do something like this. We'll get what you need. We'll find that ship mine. He nods. A bit of work here and there, and we can make it to Helion Gate and wherever else. What about your stuff? You have a sister we wanted to find. We'll do that too. He thumps the wall. We're free, Sleeper. No one can stop us. Just say the word, okay? He goes quiet. Don't give up on yourself just yet. He smiles. Get up and get back to it. And with that, he turns and kicks off down the corridor, disappearing from sight. You wait a little while, staring at the stained ceiling of the bunks, letting the thoughts settle in your mind. And then, when you are ready, you get up and leave, dazed with a stony determination growing in your chest. Alright. We got the contract. Let's get some stuff done, because I want to go out on that contract. So the tip that I learned about this game is you want to always spend all of your dice before you go out on a contract, because they do basically just get wasted if you don't do it. Energy doesn't matter too much. We'll get it back when we leave, if we go on a contract. Alright, we got some raw scrap. Fill our fuel tanks, we have full supply. Time to go to that contract. A stranded rig. Listen, Eugene, let's get going. Time to earn your keep, fellas. Keep your hands where I can see 'em. The voice crackles over the open channel of your suit comms as you near the stranded rig. You slow your approach a little as you move towards the ship, its shape lumpy and skeletal in the distant light of the sun. A warm welcome. Bodes well for the rest of the job. Bliss shoots you a concerned look. You look up at the stranded ship ahead. Clearly, they are feeling a bit exposed. We're here to help. Well, I figured that, the voice retorts. Otherwise, I would have put a hole in that shiny rig of yours already. You arrive at the side of the rig. Inspecting the damage as you do, half the hull plating and big chunks of the internal structure seem to be missing. You have a feeling that this is not what you are here to fix. The airlock opens and you move inside. The interior all exposed wires and metal framework. The systems wheeze and shudder as it cycles. Nothing of value here, so if you're looking to steal something, you're welcome to it. Alma greets you plainly inside the rig. You do the work that's needed, and I'll let you take your half of the haul. Straight to business, I see. Ain't that what you're here for? Her face is as placid and unchanging as a rock. If you're expecting a tea party, you'll be sorely disappointed. Here's the short of it. Engine's conked down on me, and I'm no engineer. Usually get her going, but this time no dice. No dice? I got like 5 of them. She looks between you and the rest of the crew. Surprised there's so many of you, to be honest. Bliss smiles sympathetically. Sorry about that, but don't worry. I've worked on these engines before. They give Alma a wink. I can handle this. Don't be so sure. Alma leads you toward the engine room. The layout of her rig much the same as yours. This girl is a sensitive type. You need to know how to handle her. The central corridor of the ship snakes in a way that isn't familiar to you, and you realize this rig is far more heavily modified than your own, something that becomes all the more obvious when you arrive in the engine room. Rather than the rig's stock engine, a singular block and double turbine, with feed lines between, Alma's engine is a mess of piping and feed lines, linking up multiple raw components welded to the interior frame of the room. Your eyes widen at the sight. Been into her since I was young. Alma smiles at the chaos. Might look like a mess, but she purrs when she's running. Bliss is shaking their head slowly. Oh, sleeper. They let out a puff of air. This is going to be special. You struggle to tell if they are intimidated or impressed. Perhaps it's a little of both. That's about all of it. Alma gestures to the exploded engine. Get her running and you'll get your half of the haul. So what is the haul? Alma glides over to a window set in the side of the engine room and points to the corroded remains of a facility deep in the asteroid's loose, dusty surface. That there's the hull, she taps in the glass. As good a find as I've ever seen. The hull is a building? Building and all that's in it. Alma screws up her face. What, you too good for scrapping? By rights, that building's mine. Scrapper's clean. Alma scratches at her mess of hair. But you help me get it running, you're welcome to take what you want from it. Up to a maximum of 50% of raw mass, that is. That's not what we expected. She looks you up and down, and you feel the first acknowledgement of you being a sleeper. I doubt it'll trouble one of you. Anyway, you're leaving with nothing unless my girl here is back in shape by the time you're done. She folds her arms across her chest. So get to it. You turn back to the engine, your eyes tracing the madness of the interlocking systems. You're starting to have the horrible feeling that the contract is some kind of elaborate joke. Alright, well, let's see what we can get done. Alright, Bliss, you're the engineer. What can you get done? That's one. Eugen, you got a decent dice for engine labor. You have any luck with it? I mean, it's working. I'll get my dice to work in here now. Alma's engine fills the room like snow. This engine has so many feedback loops, so many dependencies that it frustrates more than it amazes. Alright. As the engine makes more sense, the sections which need replacement and repair can be addressed. Is it worth me trying to use the ones? Yeah, why not? It's a 50-50 coin flip. There you go. Eugen, beat your 50-50. Damn it, Eugen. You never win your 50-50s. I'm not gonna 50-50 with mine, because my stress starts doing actual damage to my body. You two just need a break. And cycle. Another glitch dice. I've definitely had better combinations, but we can definitely make some progress on that later. But priority is getting this ship going. Alright. Bliss, can you finish off the ship? Damn it. Eugen, can you finish off? You'll definitely finish it with this. The system this complex, you either understand it or approach it systematically. Engine looks right. You can't be sure, but perhaps the job is done. You all gather in Alma's rig to see the engine tested. The engine room purrs and chitters. It seems to warm with the sound of the engine, with the polyrhythmic vibrations that rattle through the open framework of the interior. You look over to Alma and you see her eyes are closed, a small tremble at the corner of her mouth. You look at the engine, Alma's engine, an object that you have come to respect over the past cycles, even if you haven't necessarily grown to love it. It is, you see it now, a difficult thing to love. Whole parts of it make little sense, and as old as systems, those now bypassed made obsolete by newer additions, still somehow play an integral role you don't understand. It is unwieldy and unnecessarily so, and the accumulation of parts and patches from its long service makes it surprisingly fragile. Meanwhile, other sections have been welded and rewelded so many times that they are impregnable, will never be able to replace. It is uncooperative and prone to sudden outbursts of cooling fluid or even fuel. It is restless and begins to leak when left idle for too long. It is always too cold or too hot thanks to the coolant and the fuel. It's hard to predict which it will be at any given moment. And yet, despite all this, it is an object you feel close to, that you feel a kinship with. Because in the end, you two are an accumulation of broken parts, long outliving their operational limits. You two are a machine that has become a story, and a story that has grown beyond the ability of others to understand it. You look over to Alma again, and Bliss is there beside her. You can see they're talking, but with the engine running, you cannot hear them. You watch for a moment, Bliss now patiently listening as, in faltering words, Alma explains something to them. Bliss nods, and then suddenly they embrace gently and with care. Bliss pushes back, and, as soon as the moment has passed, it seems like it might not have happened at all. Nothing in the two figures' attitude betrays the act, and the room seems unchanged. You try to remember if you have seen them speaking before now, but you recall there are many moments when you were not with Bliss. As you watch Alma approach, you realize the engine is not just special to you, and between her and Bliss, it might have been the bridge to a unique kind of respect. That's the job, sleeper. Alma approaches you from the other side of the room, and you know where the payment is to be found. I believe that brings our business to an end. Alma scratches at her hair. Unless you have something to add. What will you do now? I believe that's my business. She bristles at the question. I'll need to find somewhere quiet to resupply and so on, but I don't think you like my usual haunts. She gives you a sly look. I appreciate the assistance. You're welcome to take what you want from the hangar if you haven't already. You see a knowing shimmer in her eyes. Now, I must kindly ask you to leave my ship. As the airlock cycles, you look across at Bliss, and swear you see a tear in their eye. Are you okay, Bliss? Bliss turns to you as if they forgot you were there. I'm good, Sleeper. Really good. They sniff. This place reminded me of why I do what I do. Why I fix things. They look ahead. There's beauty in it. You find yourself drifting away from Alma's rig in a haze of thoughts. It's clear to you at this point that Alma's history is written all over this place. But more than that, well, you can't be sure. This story, it seems, isn't for you. You realize as you gaze at the broken remains of the facility that Alma never took any of her half of the haul. You turn back and squint at the cockpit of her rig. You see her there, looking out across this wasteland, still as a statue. It's an image that, as you load into the rig and begin the preparations to depart, will stick with you. One that every time you enter the engine room of your ship, a room almost identical to the engine room of Alma's rig, will leap into your mind. A woman floating above the wreck of what was once her home, looking for a reason to keep going. Alright. Well, let's get to scrapping this place. The scrapping ain't going so well already. Alright. Alright. We're going to take a little bit of time and just see if we can scrap this facility. I'm probably going to get some damaged dice. We'll see how it goes. Well, nothing's broken yet, surprisingly. Right. Eugen, get together in the scrap. You're the big, strong one of the group. You can count on me. Oh, indeed we can. Me and Bliss will get to the component search. Goddamn stress. 25% chance to fail on these dice. I'm not sure I can stick around here. There's a lot of stress. There's a hiss and a rush of stale air as a sealed bay deep in the facility's tunnels opens for the first time in years. The beams of your suit lamps reach into the dark, picking out waves of dust and debris. They reveal a small bay, big enough for a shuttle but not a rig like yours. As you glide inside, those same beams catch on the frame of something that sits at the center of the bay. It is wide and flat, with a cylindrical central section that runs its length. As you move around it, looking at the sections of plate and open frame, you realize it is a ship, or at least it was. This frame, filled with rusted components and partially covered with old hull plates, suggests a fast ship, an arrowhead designed to cut through debris and even atmosphere. You float up a little to see into its central cylinder, and your lamps reveal a cockpit outfitted for 2 people. One sat behind the other. The seats are carefully upholstered, and you realize this was a labor of love. The whole ship, in fact, seems built by hand, a custom model with little function out here beyond looping around asteroids for the thrill of it. Looking closer, brushing away the surface corrosion, you see flames painted on the hull plates in curling patterns, the brush strokes visible even after what must be many years. As you inspect the half-finished ship, a sense of quiet wonder keeping you silent, you notice a glint towards its rear. You approach it and see an engine, all interlocking tubes and flared vents. It is unlike any you have ever seen, with the holes in its sides suggest it may never have been finished. Those holes are the source of the glint. You reach in and pull out some strange-looking engine components, each pristine and complex. You hesitate for a moment, suddenly feeling like you shouldn't be disturbing such an intimate object. But it occurs to you that nothing would please the person who built this ship more than seeing these handmade components put to use. You secure them to your suit, and push away from the ship. As you leave the bay, you turn and take one last look at the treasure inside. It's possible that it never flew, or perhaps it was in the middle of an extensive refit when this place was abandoned. Either way, its flying years have long since passed, and now with the bay open it will corrode much faster, melding with the anonymized scrap of this place in mere cycles. You suppress a shiver, and then start the journey back up to the surface, aware of the components dangling at your side. Alright, pretty good. Geeb, what up? Lance, how you doing? Playing some Citizen Sleeper, a dice-based RPG game. I really like it. Just the style is very fun. I'm doing very well. Getting to enjoy some space shenanigans. Alright, so I pretty much just need to leave with my stress here being as high as it is. So I'm gonna gamble on this glitch dice. If it succeeds, I'll complete this other thing. If it doesn't, well, I'm going to lose a bunch of stress anyways from flying out of this joint. Beyond the corroded outer walls, this place is just scrap. This is scrapper's work, and it takes resilience more than skill. Give it a go. Yeah, I figured. Alright, time to ship out, crew. My stress will literally kill me. You know what? Fuck it. I want to get that scrap. We're staying one more day. I got the parts to fix myself. Ooh, cool. I just got back from a workout trying to be consistent again. Hell yeah. We're here for the consistency. I also went to the gym today, so I'm also feeling pretty good. However, I'm very tired, and I was considering just passing out. What type of stuff do you do at the gym today? Doing like some cardio, doing like some conditioning work. You got like a muscle days planned out. The scrap is piled and ready. All that remains is to load into the rig. You rest a moment, taking a break from dragging the plates you've cut across the asteroid surface. You find yourself looking up towards Alma's rig, still there on the edge of the crater, and wonder if she's watching. With her engine fixed, you half expected her to leave immediately, but she remains there on the horizon, unable to leave this place. As if in response, your comms channel buzzes. "A nice pile you got there," Alma announces herself on the open channel. "We'll make scrappers of you kids yet." "That scrap will earn you a pretty penny if you know what you're doing," she continues. "Holmes Rock's always a good place to offload. I'll give you that for free." You look at the stack of ragged, torch-cut plates as you are loading up into the rig's cargo hold. You have to admit, you do feel a little pride at the work done. It could have helped. Coulda. You glance over your shoulder at the cockpit of Alma's rig, where you can see her watching. "But then you wouldn't have felt that warm glow of a job well done, now would you?" What are you doing out here? There's a click on the open channel as it closes, and Alma seems to take a moment to consider her response. "Let me ask you a question, Sleeper." She clears her throat. "What do you think this place was?" "It was a hangar. I found a ship." Alma coughs and splutters, then goes silence. "Got a good nose for salvage, have we?" She sniffs. "Not just a hangar, though. A home." Alma goes quiet for a moment, but you wait, getting the feeling there's still more to be said. "See the old arrays on the far side?" You turn and look up to the rock towards the broken frames and panels you can just make out in the dust, catching the sun's weak light. "Those were the first priority. Get power running. Recharge the cells for the excavators, the welders. Turn the scrap into something livable." She falters and coughs. "Look at 'em now." You see the tumble-down collection of panels. They look like they were scattered by a careless hand, discarded without much thought. The comms channel clicks off. You see the distant silhouette of Alma drift from view, out of the cockpit of her rig. You turn back to see that the scrap has been loaded into the ship, your half of the haul. But you suspect this place is more than just a haul to Alma. And that was Alma's contract. Cardio for the moment. We're going to start targeting different muscle groups soon. I mean, hey, if you ever want some help with it, me and a buddy of mine's been helping me with my exercise plans for 2 years now? Don't. How long has it been? I'm not sure. Like a year or two. A buddy of mine's been helping me with my exercise plans. So if you ever want a little bit of help with planning anything, I'm happy to hop into Discord and just like at least show you what I've done in the past. Give you an idea maybe. But you know, cardio's always good. If you're doing it for weight loss, like more cardio is never a bad thing. Also just good for your system. Your cardiovascular system is very important to pretty much everything. So a good cardio base is never a bad thing. Right, let's head back to Flotsam. Oh my god, I have so much stress. I should have the dice too. Alright. Let's start by fixing my broken dice slot first. Let's do their best to repair your damage as long as you have the components. The workshop is empty and dark. Bliss can only repair fully broken parts, and not while on a contract. Alright. So, first problem solved. Second problem, we need to rest. -1 stress. The rumbling of the ship, the close quarters, the darkness. It creates a sense of calm, a suspension of fear for just a moment or two. That's good. So I was going to get that ship mine. But I need to get to the Helion Gate. I just noticed I started huffing and puffing when I walked a lot, so I'm increasing my walking to try to up my endurance for now. Hey, that's good stuff too. Like I said, the cardiovascular system is pretty much the base for everything. For like my exercise stuff, any exercise day I try and start with 20 minutes up in the cardio room before I get into my weightlifting or conditioning exercises. And on Sunday, I have an actual conditioning day, where for that I do like try and do 30 or 40 minutes of cardio. I enjoy it. It keeps the body busy. Alright, where to next? Oh, I should probably up my supply and stuff first before I head out. Fill my fuel at the tanker, and then go over to the narrow escape for supplies. Might not find meals there. Is it Takahe? Yes, it is Takahe. Good to know. The supplies are taken over to your ship and stowed until you need to use them on a contract. Okay. Let's go to... I go to Holmes Rock and just sell off my stuff. I'm pretty good on Cryo right now. Helion's Gate will progress the story, so we're gonna go to Helion Gate. Helion Gate hangs over the rig. Its corroded arches resemble the dislocated vertebrae of some vast, long-dead serpent. That's one big, ugly scrap pile, Serafin whistles from the pilot's seat. Solheim didn't like to build them small. What was it for? Serafin shakes his head. Yeah, system's biggest door. Only open if you ask nicely. Gotta be big if you want to fit every ship that visits the system through it. Bliss cuts in from the back of the cockpit. Impressive, really. Building something so massive out here. Solheim like to impress visitors, sure. Serafin leans forward, looking for the best place under the structure. But they also like to scan entire ships and impound those didn't enter through the gate. Serafin catches your eye, looking for some agreement, and not the most admirable qualities. I mean, seems pretty impressive to me. Serafin shakes his head. Yeah, gotta say, I'm surprised he has Sleeper impressed by corporate infrastructure. Don't let him bait you, Sleeper. Bliss rolls their eyes. Solheim were cruel and ruthless, but without them, this system would just be two gas giants and a load of rocks. No harm in recognizing that. You look out of the cockpit towards the gate, its layers of systems and rooms slowly opening to the void, peeling away cycle after cycle to reveal the bones beneath. This is where Jean-Mi mentioned you might be able to find the location of a ship with a prime ship mine, among the old shipping manifests and Solheim records. You look over the towering structure of the gate. This is going to take some work. Suddenly a flash high up on the gate catches your eye, a light turning on and off again for a moment. You lose track of it. Is this place inhabited? Serafin raises an eyebrow. I doubt it. He winks and smiles. You open for a station-side bar? I mean, I wouldn't complain about it. I have a feeling you'll be disappointed, unless we find an executive's old liquor cabinet. Bliss pats you on the shoulder and drifts out of the cockpit. Time to see what secrets the gate has left. I remember with me, one of the things that really made me realize I was out of shape beyond all comparison. I lost my breath trying to tie my shoes. I'd have to like crouch down to tie my shoes, and I guess it was like my stomach crushing in on itself, my chest crushing in on my organs. I would bend to tie my shoes, and it felt like I had to hold my breath to do that. I'm very thankful that I don't get that feeling anymore. I've gotten out of that state, at least. Alright, let's check the customs hall. Because we kind of need to search this place, and I need access to fuel if I'm going to be leaving here anytime soon. I'll try it with this one. Okay, there we go. After spending some time here, you are convinced you are not alone here, but how to find the gate's residence. Alright, so we have the gate structure. Cut away the scrap or data scraping. Most of the gate is corroded beyond use, but deep in the structure you can still find good metal. Or data scraping. The gate's networks collapsed long ago, but there's data to be found in the old terminals and servers inside the structure. There's still data here we can mine. Seize cargo. A mess of confiscated cargo stretches off into the darkness. The sight instills some fear, but perhaps there's still something here yet to be picked clean. This is the issue. I'm playing a class that has Endure as a negative skill. Like, I can literally not level up my Endure. And Endure is the only way of getting supplies at the Helion Gate. So, I'm just going to have my crew work on scavenging fuel, because it's literally the only way we are leaving here. I'm going to do what I can to scavenge something from the fuel. Oh, that actually worked. My god. 50-50. That's a lot of energy loss. And then the Solheim records. We either power up the archive or extract the records. One way to get the data you need from the archive is to power up the whole machinery of it, a daunting engineering task. Or extract the records. Slower than turning on the entire archive, selectively extracting records is a safer and slower method to get what you need. Alright, well, that's all we can get done today at the very least. Alright, let's get down here. Let's power up this archive. Idle mines. The archive is coming online. You want its terminals light up in the dark. Alright, so I really trust you for that one. So we're going to do extract some records with our other 2 dice. You manage to extract a few sets of records. Nothing mentions any ship mine equipped vessels. Give it one more shot. Alright, that's not good. To the kitchen. Supplies are typically saved for contracts, but when food isn't readily available, you've got to use what you've got to survive. Alright. I'll try and use this dice. If it works, we'll probably get like 2 points towards idle mines. And it worked! You extract a partial code base for searching the records. This will make things easier. Perfect. Alright, let's end the cycle. Alright. Let's get back to powering up the archives. We're gonna need whatever we can get from here. Alright, that's 2. I'll take that. So let's see if I can just extract the last bit of information that we need with these 2 dice. There we go. You hear something in the dark. In the dark and airless void of the archive, something flickers. You've been working in the dark, picking through the guts of corroded machines, skimming the data and their corrupt memories, digging through a graveyard in search of ghosts. But now, with another flicker, the place begins to come back to life. All along the rows of benches, some of them crushed by fallen ceiling panels, terminals begin to flicker into uneasy life. A cacophony of distorted sounds accompany the machines, as some of them immediately glitch and spark. Did you do this? You stand frozen as the archives glitter around you with 1,000,000 shipping entries. The stream of information is overwhelming, node graphs drawing out routes and inventories, tracing a web around you in pale cyan. Suddenly they all shut off, the terminals blinking out together, leaving a single translucent screen glowing softly in the dim room. And in that dim room, drifting towards you out of the dark, you see a figure. Is this what you're looking for? The voice crackles aggressively through your suit's local comms. Who are you? Sleeper? Is that you? You hear Junie's voice now, tense and unsure. She stops beside the single online terminal, her suited form lit in pale light. It is! Good to see you again. She pauses and glances around, though the venue is a little unexpected. I'm looking for a ship mind. She shrugs. Well, yes, I can see that. I've been digging through the archives myself, although slightly less forcefully than you. I did have this whole speech prepared for whatever salvager was ripping through these archives so messily, not to mention aggressively. Now that I know it was you, well, I'm just glad to see you. Although you really need to be more careful. You could have taken the entire archive down the way you were working with it. These machines are decades old. You can't just rifle through them like they were a scrap pile. I saw the pattern of your queries, a prime ship mine-equipped ship, still operational at the collapse. That's located in the region around Helion Gate. You can feel how pleased she is with herself from here. That about right? Nicely done. She nods. Would you expect anything else? That's why I did the hard work for you. Junie beckons you over to the lone, lit-up terminal. You drift over and see a single point, a faded transit trail beside it, sunward from the Helion Gate. Something like this, maybe? She smiles and steps aside so you can see the screen. You check the info pane beside the map. Ship mine in use, abandoned by all hands after the collapse, tantalizingly in reach. What can I say? Try, thank you, Junie. But Junie turns, and the glow of the terminal meets your eyes with a complete seriousness. The question is, what do you want it for? Well, I'll just explain about my body. You tell her what John Mee told you, about your shifting body, transformed by some unknown influence, about the need for a prime ship mine to house your emulated mind while he runs a diagnostic process. She is silent for a moment, unsure how to respond. I'm sorry, Sleeper, but I think I can help you. I want to come with you. Junie gives you a strong look. Do you know how often someone gets out to one of these old Solheim wrecks? They are more trouble than they are worth. But contained inside, there's entire history to uncover. I need that ship mind. And you are welcome to it, she pauses. I promise to help you get to what you need and not to get in your way. I know I can't force you or trick you into taking me. That's why I want to offer you this instead. She indicates the terminal, still showing the ship's final resting place. I hope that maybe, if I helped you find what you needed, it would show I can be trusted. How did you escape Hexport? With great difficulty, she sighs. An evacuation was called and I managed to get on board an outbound ship. I didn't see you in chaos, so I'm glad to see you now. She pauses. Think about my offer, Sleeper. I'll send the coordinates to your ship, and I'll be hanging around the gate until you are ready to leave. She shifts in front of the terminal and plugs in her deck, tapping away at rapid speed. If you need to go get supplies from the spindle or anything else, fine. She folds her arms. I'll wait. If you go on that job without me, I'll get the message. She shrugs. You won't see me again. With that, you leave her in the archive, extracting data as you ascend back to Helion Gate's upper levels. Alright, we got a new contract. So, I think we're going to just take this. Yeah. I'm going to try and just scavenge a bit more fuel. Like, if I can get more fuel, that would be good. I would love to have a full tank. Alright, +2 fuel. I'll take it. Can I get another point of supply? No, I cannot. Alright, we're just gonna head on. Right. In order to run a full diagnostic of your system, John Mee needs a ship mine. The Solheim wreck, abandoned during the collapse, is your best shot. Alright. Confirm the vector. Junie and... I'll take Eugen. I might need his engage. And I can handle engineering and intuit good enough. Confirm the crew.